Welcome back. He's an engineer, so he knows what to do with the gear. The Navy obviously considered him gravy, which is why they hung on to him for 38 years. Now rest assured, and this is no pap, this man has a mind like a steel trap. Please join me in welcoming Commander John B. Lipinski, United States Navy, retired. Commander, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Robert. I
Absolutely.
appreciate this.
It's a pleasure to have you here. 38 years.
Yes, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I just wish that I could have made captain the state of 41, from E1 all through the E8, all through the warrant ranks.
So you're a Mustang.
That's right.
Mustang number 2. We had, do you know Colonel Patrick McAleer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Mustang too, Air Force.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's hard to come by in the Air Force.
Yeah, that's what he said. And it's hard to come by in the same Legion post.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you joined in 1951?
May of 51 till October of 89.
That's a career.
Yeah.
That is a career.
Yeah. And it's all active duty time too. It's not reserve time.
And yeah, you spent a lot of that time at sea, right?
I have 11 cruises at sea. That's approximately 12 years to 13 years at sea. And I've lived all over the world. I lived in Japan for a while. I lived in the Philippines for a while. I lived on Guam for a couple of years. I lived in Sicily for a couple of years. Most of my cruising was all in the Pacific, all on the islands out there. I did make one cruise in the Atlantic.
Wow, just one?
Yeah, it was my last one. So I had never made an Atlantic cruise, and I decided that I was going to try to join my son on the USS America.
And your son was in the Navy
And
too.
he just left the ship before I got there. So.
Oh, man. A family affair.
Yep. I have 3 boys. 2 of them went to the Army, and 1 of them went to the Navy. So.
I bet that makes Army-Navy games, kind of a tough thing to have under one roof.
Yeah. It's always interesting when we get together.
I'm sure. Hit the pause button. All right. Well, without further ado, let's take a trip back in time with Commander John B. Lipinski, United States Navy retired, unfiltered, unplugged, and right now.
You know, anytime you turn down the next location, it just kills you for advancement. And I said, I'm 15 pay grades higher than I ever thought I'd get. So I went to North Island as the department head there, the maintenance department. And then I went to the RAG, back to the RAG again in the F-14 program. Retired. The last year before I retired, I broke my back the second time, fractured it, and was on crutches again. And the admiral friend of mine heard about it, and he said, "Can you get to North Island every day?" And I said, "Yeah, boss, I can get there, but I can't do anything." So he gave me 2 GS-11 and a GS-12, and the Navy was forced to go in competition for the repair of the F-14s, and the NARF there was one competitor, Grumman was the other one, and the NARF in Virginia was the third one. And they made me the administrative boss, gave me 26 airplanes and $26 million, and they sent me to the NARF to be in competition with the other 2. And we all knew from the start it was going to be Norfolk. So But I enjoyed that last year. Then I went back to the RAG because I was only TAD from it. And when I got back to the RAG, they did the retirement for me. They brought 200 officers and enlisted guys because that was the training for the F-14 guys. And I have a disc of that full retirement and my retirement speech, and then the final awards they gave me, and then my side boys, which were all commanders at that time, that I had friends that we grew up and knew each other, and they were all ex-enlisted. So they acted as my side boys. And I pulled the plug at 38 years. I can't hear you, Robert. That ear got blown out on the flight deck. So. Okay. I was in high school for a year and a half, and I thought I was a smart ass. I had kind of a photographic memory. I could read a book or take a test, and I could pretty much go back and record and write down all of the questions and stuff. And I took the welding course because my dad was a welder, and he was also a jack of all trades. And I had worked from a time that I was 7 years old with him on the different jobs and stuff. And I thought, well, this welding is going to be easy. Well, I did all my projects as I was almost completed. And I would get in the welding booth, and I would arc, and I'd be reading a book. And he caught me the first time and said, I know you finished your projects, you did well, but you're here to weld stuff and not read books. So then he caught me the second time, and I got my final warning from him. Then he brought in 2 pieces of metal, and he says, now remember, you can't weld these types of metal because they're non-ferrous and stuff like that, and they can't be welded. Well, my dad was working with helio arc and a few other things at the time, so I took those 2 pieces home. Didn't tell him anything about it. He just welded them up for me. Took them back, and we had the Friday review. And when he finished his review about you can't weld these, I picked it up and threw it on his desk. And I said, there they are, they're welded. And he threw my ass right out of the school. Don't come back till you bring your dad in. And that was Friday. Saturday was my normal day to go down to the I was a sea patrol, and I wore a Navy uniform, and I would go down to Lake Michigan there and go to a meeting and stuff, and I was a big deal in a Navy uniform and a white hat. And I thought, well, I think I can go enlist. Korea had broken out, and they were desperate. They were just taking everybody in that they could get in. So I decided Monday morning to go down to 444 North Rush Street in Chicago to the recruiting station. And there was an old boatswain mate in there, first class, and he was desperate to make his quota. So I had taken my birth certificate, and it said 1934, May 16, 1934. And I took an eraser and I rubbed the edge off the 4 and made it a 1. which made me 19. He looked at it and said, but he went ahead and signed me up. So he said, I want you to come back tomorrow. And he says, how soon do you want to come in? And I says, as soon as possible. He says, well, you come back tomorrow, take your physical, if you pass it and everything, and take the exams. If you pass those, then Wednesday we'll take you up to Great Lakes. So Tuesday I went up there, and the doctor was there. They gave me a physical. They stuck me in a room with the examination with a bunch of other guys. And it was a combination of math and just general knowledge. Well, to get 120 qualified you for any schools and so forth that you can go to at the time. I breezed through the thing, but I only made a 94 because I wasn't really concentrating on it and everything. So my 94 got me in, but it didn't qualify me for anything. Well, I went back there Wednesday morning, and they turned around. They said, you're going to be up on a train there late this afternoon. And I reported in the Great Lakes.